Today we're going to talk about real-world equations and modeling. So the first one we're going to look at is number 2. It says, what is the value of n in the equation this model represents? So the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out that n, a positive n, is represented by a triangle with an n inside. Our key tells us that a circle with a negative symbol equals a negative 1. So let's count up and see what I have, and we can make our equation. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 n's. So this is going to be 4n. And I have 1, 2 negative 1's. So that would end up being minus 2. I have my equal sign, that doesn't change. And now I have 1n right here. 1n. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negative 1's. So I put minus 8. Now I need to solve the equation just like normal. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it down below so I have more room. 4n minus 2 equals 1n minus 8. And you'll see why I color-coded later on. So now we need to solve the equation just like normal. We're first going to draw a line down the equal sign. And now we have to combine like terms. So the red right here are the like terms, and the blues are like terms. We know that because the red has an n in the number, and the blue does not. So it's separated by things that have a variable, things that do not have a variable. So when we are combining like terms, we have to get all of the things with the variable to one side. So I'm going to put the variables over here. I'm going to put the non-variables over here. All that means is I'm going to get the reds to the left and the blues to the right. So first, I'm going to start with the reds. I need to get this red over here. The way I do that is I do the opposite of 1n. The opposite of 1n is negative 1 n. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So that would cancel out this. Now I'd make this 3n. Now I need to do the same thing to the blue, except I want the blue to go to the right. So I'm going to do the opposite of minus 2, which is plus 2. What I do to one side, I do to the other. These cancel out. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. So from there, I have to do my normal equation stuff. I have to get the variable all alone. The n has to be by itself at the end of the problem. So to do that, I have 3 times n, and I have to divide by 3 then to get rid of this. So what I do to one side, I do to the other. So I am left with n equals negative 6 divided by 3. If we use our circle dude, math dude, we have a negative and a positive. What's left is a negative, so our answer would be negative 2, which in this problem is D. Here's number 3. 3 says, pick the situation that best matches the inequality shown below. I've gone ahead and included up here what M, B, and Y stand for, and I've color-coded it based on the problem at hand. So now I'm going to finish color-coding the actual equation. Y is in red, B is the negative 120, sorry, and M is the 9.25. Notice the X and the greater than or less than are the things that don't really change. So now we need to go through each one of these answer choices and color code it and see if it matches our equation. That's what this evidence spot over here is for. So the first one, F, says Melina earns $9.25 per hour. Okay, that right there, the per, should tell you that's our multiple time. It's each, every per. It's $9.25 per hour. She needs $85 to attend a concert. If she spends at most 120 on clothes at the mall, how many hours must Melina work to be able to afford the concert? So a giveaway here that tells us this is not the correct answer is going to be at most 120. Now our equation up here, it reads greater than or less than 85. This equation is putting 120 at the total because it's saying she could spend less or more than. So that's what that would say and have 120 here. Since it is not correct, we can go ahead and cross it out. Now let's look at G. G says Melina babysits 9.25 hours per week. So that's still okay. 9.25 hours per week. She needs a minimum of $85 to attend a concert. If she spends $120 on clothes at the mall, how much money must Melina earn to be able to afford the concert? Now, the thing that's wrong with this, it says she works an amount of hours per week, but it doesn't tell you how much money she earns from that. So we don't know actually how much she has to work because there's no price on it. So that would be wrong. Now let's look at H. Melina earns $9.25 per hour. So that's looking good so far. She needs a minimum of $85 to attend a concert. If she spends $120 on clothes at the mall, how many hours must Melina work to be able to afford the concert? So it says she spends exactly 120, which would make sense here because it tells us that she spent exactly 120 up in the problem right here. Now it says she needs a minimum of $85. So let's color code that red. Minimum of 85 hours. $85, sorry. Looking up in the problem, 85 is at the smaller end of the inequality sign, meaning that's the smaller part. So 85 is less than or equal to what she has over here, meaning that is the minimum amount she needs. Since that is on the smaller side, it's minimum. So far, H is looking perfect. But let's look at J just to make sure. It says Melina works 9.25 hours per week. Okay? We figured out that doesn't really work out because it doesn't tell us how much money she actually gets. So J would also be wrong. So to show our evidence, we can go ahead and write out what we've color coded. Okay, we were able to get 9.25 per hour, but she spends $120. She needs the minimum amount of 85. So number 5 says which corresponding real world problem does not. So that means we will have 3 correct answers and 1 equation that does not match up. So let's go ahead and finish color coding. I put our labels over here, that way it helps us color code. We know that Y is our total, so that would be right here, and that's red. We know B is the one time, that's the thing without the X. So that's right here. And N is the thing with the X, the multiple. So our equation should end up looking like M X plus B equals Y. Alright, so let's go through and let's look at A first. We're going to color code as we go. It says the local warehouse ships X number of boxes weighing 6 pounds each. So each tells us that's our M. It says one additional box weighing 40 pounds. So one box weighing 40 pounds. That's our one time. And then it says the total weight being processed is 130 pounds. So total 130 pounds. So let's go ahead and write out what we color coded. we said 6 pounds each. So 6, the X is that each. 1 at 40 pounds plus 40 equals the total weight of 130. So far, that matches exactly over here. So let's keep going on. B says Barry receives a $40 gift card from his grandparents for receiving good grades on his report card. So that's a one-time thing. He just got one gift card. So that's our green. He begins to save $6 each week, $6 a week or each week. So that's our M, the thing that happens multiple times. How many weeks will Barry need to save a total of 130? So now let's write out what we learned. It says $6 each week. So that'd be 6x. He got one $40 gift card. And it says the total would be 130. So that looks exactly like our equation. So this looks just like this. So that is also correct so far. So let's move on to C. C says Marvel currently has 130 roses. So that could be her total. 130 roses. 40 of the roses are white. Awesome. So that's our one time. If she plants 6 red roses, how many total red roses are in Marvel's garden? Well, that math doesn't add up. It says she has 40 roses are white, and if she plants 6 red roses, that doesn't equal 130. So right there, we can't even make our equation. So we know this is the incorrect answer. So this should be the answer we choose, because remember, it says does not represent. But we're going to go ahead and do the last one just to make sure. It says Heidi spends 6 times, 6 times, so that would be multiple, as many minutes working on her math homework as her little brother. She also spends 40 minutes practicing the piano. So that's a one-time thing. It's an isolated event. And then it says if Heidi spends 130 minutes working on math and piano, so that's a total, how many minutes does her little brother spend working on his math homework? So we learned that 6 times as many minutes working on her math homework. So that's what's that X, because that's what we're looking for. The minutes her brother worked on math homework. So we can go ahead and write out our equation. We'll get 6x, because that's 6 times the amount of math her brother did, plus 40 minutes for piano, equals 130 minutes total that she spent studying or practicing. So again, this question says which problem does not represent. We were able to come up with 3 equations and one that was not correct. So in this answer, we would choose the one that does not represent the equation.